Okay, hello, good morning, welcome, NextOppSocial family, to another live discussion, live chat here on the NextOppSocial channel. I am Richelle Ritt Wilson, as always. I'm joined by Joanne Buford, and today we are so excited to introduce Miss Selina Wells here to the NextOppSocial experience. Selina is an entrepreneur, wears many hats, she does many things, but is also known as an expert in business and personal credit development, as well as real estate consulting. Before we jump into learning more and chatting with Selina, as always, if you're watching with us here, either live or on the replay, please make sure you hit that subscribe button below so that you never miss an interview, a live, or any of these incredible discussions we have here at NextOppSocial. So let's get into it. Welcome, Selina. Thank you again for joining us here today. We're very excited to have you and talk about your journey. So let's jump into it. Tell us more about yourself, your background, and because we're here to talk entrepreneurship, what caused you to fall in love with being an entrepreneur?
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This is very exciting. I love sharing with entrepreneurs. And I thank you, Mr. Buford, for the opportunity. And I thank you, Ms. Wright, for the opportunity to be transparent and to be open and to share exactly how I got into the position that I am in today. It's been a long journey. It's been 22 years that I've been in business. And, I had that desire when I was in 10th grade in economics class. I remember, the supply and demand, and it was like, oh, you can make more money the more demand is for this product. And when they said more money, something just resonated in me. And I was like, oh, I think I like that. And I just have been pursuing business ever since. I had my first job at 14. My dad was like, if you want extra, you have to go out and make some money, if I wanted what I wanted. So back then they had the big, thick yellow pages, and I would go through the yellow pages and I would call beauty shops to see if they needed somebody to wash hair or sweep floors or whatever, and couldn't get a response. So the next thing was to go knock on doors of companies. And that's what I did. And that's how I got my first job, was knocking on doors of businesses saying, hey, I'm here to help. And fast forward today, I'm in that same position saying, hey, I am here to help, because that's what entrepreneurship is all about. It is to help, to get individuals to where they want to be within themselves and within their entrepreneur journey.
I love it. And of course, I'm really impressed when I think about the contours of our relationship and when I first met you up until now, and conversing with you and then jumping online and looking at your LinkedIn profile and then having indirect conversations with people we know in common. I said to myself, Selina has been quite not one endeavor, but you've had your hands in a lot of different pots over the years. I mean, you bring a lot of experience and diversity of environments that you've worked in. Talk to me about that. I mean, people try it, but very few people succeed at it. You've been able to do some incredible things over especially the last several years. Like, it's been a mushroom cloud explosion with you.
Thank you. I have to give that experience to the 2008 crisis, to be honest. Yeah. Back in 2000, well, let me start back. When I started my business at the age of 25, I obtained my life insurance license and had a career in financial services. It was very, very good. I was very successful in the industry, but then the Lord birthed a new business in me, which was credit restoration. And back in 1997, we did not have many people doing credit restoration. Right. I was one of the first African-American women to step on the set talking about credit restoration, and it was nothing but God who showed me the way, because I had no idea what I was doing. But I went through the process myself, and because I had 10 years of experience in the lending area, collections, bankruptcies, repossessions, and things like that, I was able to take the information that I learned personally through messing up people's credit, now turning it around and begin to work on it myself, and went through that process. And as a result, I was able to fix my credit. And then from there, I said, I got to share this with everybody I know. And that's what I did. I shared it with everybody I know. And 2 years later, I was full-time opening up my office for credit restoration. Then I proceeded to get my property and casualty license, which, I proceeded to get my real estate license because I was helping with credit. And then people wanted to get a house, and I already knew more about them. And they were like, okay, I wish you were my realtor. And I was like, I'm leaving money on the table. You know, it had to make dollars and cents for me to move, right?
Yeah.
So I went and got my real estate license, and then I went and got my property and casualty license because I said they're going to need to protect their home. So I saturated that industry and created the opportunity to help my clients in several different areas, but to also have a success with income from just one person. And but as a result of me doing that, when 2008 happened, that whole industry crashed. I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I had contracts with Ford to go in and to teach home ownership classes. And I had trainings with different other companies where I would go in and teach self-sufficiency as it relates to credit and budgeting. And that was the first thing that went, was employee benefits. And so I was like, what am I going to do? You know, what's next? So that's when you have to be agile. And I said, I will never put all of my eggs in one basket. And so I started to branch out into different areas so that I can make sure that my family will be sustained regardless of what may hit us. And that's how, and, you know, people say, oh my God, you know, you're doing so much. And, you know, I do what I enjoy, so it doesn't feel like it's so much.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. You know, a common thread that I'm hearing through, you know, your experience is that it's not like you read a book, watched the YouTube videos, I like to say, and now you're an entrepreneur, right? You're dispensing all this advice. I mean, you were really letting people in on your entrepreneurial journey, your own personal journey, whether people realize it or not. You were teaching the principles and the things that you knew and applied to yourself, and just helping other people along the way, right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
we run into this a lot, right? I earnestly believe entrepreneurs in many respects are educators. Typically, we're just out here elaborating upon the things that we really enjoy, love, and appreciate, and we're just sharing it with the world. And I'm hearing that like crystal clear through your experience so far. But I want to challenge you a little bit, right? Because I know a little bit about the insurance background. I know about some of the other business endeavors you're involved in. But part of the reason why I thought it would be so fascinating to bring you on is because you also have a direct selling background, right? In the direct selling industry. And it's an industry that is so often misunderstood. People don't appreciate it for what it is. They just don't get it, right? And how it's applicable. And quite frankly, right now, the way it's shaping millions of people's lives. You know, talk about your relationship with the direct selling industry through your entrepreneurial journey, and how it's helped you, benefited you, why you think other people should be aware of it.
Oh my goodness, it is very fascinating, and people really don't understand it. You always hear that it's a pyramid scheme and that it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if they only understand that their job is a pyramid, you know, that you never can be successful doing that one thing. You know, when I learned of duplication and when I learned of residual income, I was fascinated by that. I was fascinated by the fact that I can help somebody else, they can help somebody else, and then we all win. It's a win-win-win situation for everybody that's involved. And I learned that at the age of 25, I learned about duplicating myself. And then as I began to grow in the industry, you tend to just get better. You have to keep yourself around other like-minded individuals. And I also pride myself on making sure that I have coaches and mentors to keep me rooted and grounded in this, because no, it's not easy. And you do have to have that mindset of wanting to help people and want to be exposed. You're exposing yourself. You are being very, very transparent about how you went there. Your pain is your journey to success. And so I just went through this 3-day, very intense, 10-hour day training. And it was life-changing. I mean, it was Eric Worre, who put the event on. You had Trent Shelton, Nicole, what's her name? Nicole, gosh, I can't think of her name, the short lady, but she's very, very powerful. Pete Vargas. I mean, so many people who is in this industry, who's making 6 figures a month, 7 figures, a year, and growing and expanding in so many different areas. And I remember being introduced to this at the age of 25, walking in 24 karat doors, sitting on 24 karat toilets, when I was invited because I met the requirement to see this type of lifestyle. And I said, how would I ever have been introduced to this just doing a job? The CEO is not going to bring me to their home. The CEO is not going to take me under their wings and really show me how to get to where they are. They're trying to keep me complacent and pressed down. So when I got introduced to that, I was messed up. I couldn't operate and function at a job. So it took 6 years. I was out of there,
I love it. I love it.
I want to ask too, like when you had those moments, right, where you realized what was possible, right? You got these opportunities to walk in and be like, people open doors for you to see what was possible. What you had the realization of like, oh God, I got to do something. But what were some of those mindset shifts that you had to make about yourself and how you work and how you approach money and your livelihood and whatever, so that you felt empowered to be successful in this new route?
Oh, wow. That's a power pack question. And it is a journey. You constantly have to work on your mindset. You have to have a winning mindset. And you have to understand what success is. John Maxwell, he explains it very well and says that success is your daily activities to help you to reach your goals. And you have to stay motivated to always want to stay on that path. You have to learn and develop what it is that you really want out of life. You have to have the vision, you have to write it down, and you have to begin to walk in that path, So I believe that one of the things that helped me is changing my mindset, being around other successful people, obtaining knowledge through reading the books and keeping myself focused. I'm a very organized person, very systematic. I like structure. So I like to have things, really orderly so that I can feel like I have achieved, so I can feel like I have that success. And that's one of the things that keeps me going. And that's one of the things that had to change. I had to build up my confidence, and not saying that guess in this journey that there was not times that I did not feel confident, because it was. In 2008, when that hit, I was like, it's like it took the wind out of me. I was full time in this industry. So I had to pivot. You have to learn how to pivot in this industry, and even though you get knocked down, you get pulled back up, and my apostle, he always say, always be in a position to train your replacement, and I'm always looking for somebody that can take my place, because I don't want to be self-employed. I want a business There's a difference. You know, I wanted to operate on its own without me having to be there. That's a business. Me producing, constantly having to be there, I'm self-employed. I'm producing my own income. And that's not the position I want to be in. So I got to keep my high level thinking up. I have to keep my faith up. I have to keep my expectations up. And that has to be ongoing out the door.
I love it. I love it. I mean, you dropped so many gems just then, right? It's one thing that I just want to alliterate a little again, and a question is going to follow up, but this ideal of being married to the process, right? I'm hearing that throughout your entire talk, right? The daily activities to reach your goals is what success is. And I know as entrepreneurs, so often we get caught up in the results, and we fail to really embrace the importance of the process. So I love that you dropped that nugget. But you also shared something else, right? You gave us a little bit more background. We know you're in ministry. And when the moment you said apostle, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go here now, right?
Yeah.
So something is always fascinating to me, and I suffered from it, right? What we're taught about money, right? The ideal that money's the root of all evil, the ideal that evidently people who are successful, they must be evil, they must have exploited people, something's wrong, right? That ideally that if you're wealthy and you're consumed and you're thinking about money all the time, that's a bad thing and your priorities are out of whack, right? And for me, I'm not judgmental because it took me a while to rework my relationship with money and understanding what wealth was really all about and what success really meant. I know you're on the front lines, right? Being in ministry and dealing with that attitude quite regularly. Elaborate a little bit on that. What do you want our listening audience to know, and how do you want them to kind of reflect on their relationship with money?
Well, I can say this: money cannot be an idol. You cannot worship the money. Money is a currency and it has to flow through you. You know, it just is an exchange, you know. And I have always been taught that whatever leaves your hand never leaves your world. So whatever you give out, it's going to come back. And that even relates to money. So you can't be so gung-ho just all about the money. And you can't just idol and worship, I'm doing this just for the money. There has to be a greater purpose, and there has to be a why behind you wanting the money, because money is to be a blessing. Money is to give. Money is to help. And that's what I minister about as far as money. There is a misconception about, you know, you're supposed to be very meek and, you know, you're not supposed to really have much. And that's a very, very wrong mindset and a misconception. You know, Jesus was wealthy in every area of his life, even when it comes to money. You know, he didn't have to have it tangibly, but it was prosperity happening all around him. He walked and everybody gave and he gave back. It was always that currency being exchanged, and it was a transfer. And that's all that money is, you know. It's a transfer of wealth, transfer of currency. And, you know, I don't like that mindset of, you know, woe is me and, you know, you can't have money. That's folly. That's some tomfoolery.
All right, amen. So you mentioned 2008, the challenges that occurred. You pivoted, you did the things that you needed to do to come out of that. But I'm gonna ask you to dissect that a little bit, right? Because you have a lot of individuals who are experiencing their 2008 here in 2020, right? And I feel blessed. I'm so glad I was in business in 2000. So glad I was in business in 2008. So when 2020 came around, it was just like, oh, I've seen this before. I know what to do, right? It's like, okay. Right.
Yes.
But a lot of people are experiencing their first economic downturn in business now. They haven't tasted this before, when things kind of dry up and they have to pivot and mindset changes and shifts and all that fun stuff. What are some of the tools, what, I guess, equipment that you avail yourself of? What was your process in terms of pivoting and putting yourself back on solid ground? What did that look like for you?
The good thing is that I had already positioned myself for online, and what you have to do when you're in business is you have to watch what other businesses are doing. Do we see how quickly the industry changed? I mean, they came in and it was everything just shifted. The commercials shifted within a week.
Mm-hmm.
So they moved very quickly. That's the same thing I did. I moved as soon as they said shut down. I moved very quickly. I was like, okay, what can I do to still position myself to be in front of my customers? That allowed me now to have more relationship talk with them. I got on the phone with them. I built relationship. I asked them if it was something I can help them with. I was able to, touch people in different ways, to see if it was anything that I could be of service, maybe send a gift card, maybe send some groceries, drop. My husband is an herbalist and we have a holistic healing center. So we were able to drop medicine off on the curb, so we were doing curbside service. I mean, porch deliveries, I should say,
Uh-huh.
So you have to be aggressive. You have to step up. You have to dig deep within yourself and say, what can I do to still move things forward? I immediately got Zoom. I stopped with the free and went on with the cost. I incurred that cost so that I can claim my visual learning. My real estate is all virtual, so I was good there. I was doing virtual tours anyway. So I was able to, do that. So you have to have a plan in advance, because once you know things like this can happen, then you position yourself. It's just like having a first aid kit. You
Yeah.
have it on the shelf and you take it when you need it. What's the first aid kit for business? What do you have to have in that toolbox in order for you to make it in your business? And everybody toolbox is going to be different. Mine was making sure that I shift into now making sure that my people heard from me, that my team heard from me, that we were all on the same page, and what we can do together if somebody needed help, creating systems where we have communication. GroupMe became, very important, FaceTime became very important, having meetings became very important. So those relationship building activities became very important in that season.
I love it. I love it. That the idea of having that first aid kit, like I immediately bolded that in my notes. Yes.
Yes.
I was chatting with a business owner yesterday, and this is reminding me of the conversation we had. He has a coaching business where he was doing athletics. And of course, the pandemic just destroyed his business. And he talked about the ideal of the fact he was earning the money, building the momentum, earning the money, building the momentum, expanding, scaling, growing. And he never thought for a moment that something like this could happen. Like he hadn't planned for it, he hadn't anticipated. And for the entrepreneurs listening in, I guess what I'm hearing, and please, by all means, as well as elaborate, look, you have to anticipate, be confident, but be humble at the same time. Knowing that you can be eating today and on the curb tomorrow, and that your success is not guaranteed. You're not entitled to it. You always have to have a plan B, a plan C, and be about servicing people. And that's what I'm hearing from you loud and clear through all of this.
Yeah, you really do. You have to think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see, what can I do? The minute money became available, you should have been like, okay, how can I position myself? Who can help me? Can somebody, get on the phone, create some momentum in your own life so you can reach your goals. Soon as you said that about that business owner, immediately I thought, his business doesn't have to be shut down. I'm a Zoom instructor. I did Zoom online. I went back and reached for a different license and said, you know what? I'm about to start working out because I didn't want to have that Corona body. Start working out. And then the other thing is that people migrated outside. And now that and then even in the cold, so now they have these bubble things where you can eat inside the bubble. Why can't you work outside? Work in the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
They have it where you can heat it up. They have it where you can have air condition. Come on. So you got to think outside the box and pull from different resources, and some of the cities are giving grants. You have to know what's available. When you're a business owner, you have to be about your business. That's the name of one of my businesses. It's called Baby, BAYB, be about your business, and because it's your baby, when it's your baby, you do whatever you need to do to take care of that baby. Whatever you have to do, whatever you need to do, you make sure that baby's taken care of. And that's the same way you have to be about your business.
Yes. So often business owners, and this is one of my biggest frustrations, right? Working in the community, business owners are slow to adopt. They're slow to accept change. And what I'm hearing from you is that you embrace the change and you're an early adopter. Something makes sense. You don't have to spend time and so much time investigating the roots. You're about out there picking the fruit, like getting after it right away. And I'm so glad you're sharing this. I mean, I think, man, a lot of the perspectives that you are imparting is just so invaluable right now. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. You know what? It's so funny. I remember that you mentioned that. This is hilarious. So in real estate, you have the opportunity, to switch brokers and change brokers. And this gentleman kept trying to get me to watch a video so that I can see what was going on new in the industry. And I was like, oh no, I'm good where I'm at. And, I'm very, very happy. I don't have time, but he was persistent and he was consistent and persistent. And so finally there was that open door. He never gave up. It was the open door where I was available. I was able to watch that video and I was blown away. I was like, OMG. I could not believe the opportunity that was just presented to me. I immediately made the change, immediately, without question, because of the simple fact it made sense for me. It caused an increase for me. It helps my family longevity. I have equity ownership in the company. I didn't have that at my other broker. My broker wouldn't pay my bills if I didn't work, but now I'm in a position where my bills can get paid even if I don't work real estate, because I'm able to build a team on a global level that I've never been given that opportunity before in another real estate company. So just imagine if I wasn't able to take that information, or I just kept pushing it off and I didn't see that video, I would think that I was good where I was at. So now I'm more open to say, okay, let me see. Because you never know what could be better out there for you. So yes, you do have to be quick. You do have to look at it and say, where am I right now? Because there needs sometimes to be some change to happen in your life.
Yes.
I want to ask, with kind of still staying in this topic of pivoting, changing and whatnot, when you think back to 2008 and some of the things that you pivoted and changed and adjusted that maybe probably created long-term changes for you, right? Or they became long-term habits. When you think about this year and you think about the changes and pivots and things you had to make now, what are some things that you think you've done that probably will stick around for you, that you're going to make more long-term habits in being a better businesswoman, being a better entrepreneur? I know you talk about relationship building a lot, and I think that what I was hearing is that's become even more important and more valuable to you in business. And I'm wondering if you feel like that's going to be something you keep going, right? Whether things go back to normal or whatever.
Yes, you know what? Absolutely. Because before we were so busy, we never really had time to connect. And because of that, it caused us to slow down and have an opportunity to reevaluate, our business. If any business owner didn't reevaluate their business in this season, then you're really not in business, So that piece right there definitely is going to be very, very valuable for the future, but also having systems and tools in place is very, 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 very valuable, because you get all these tools and you don't use them because you're so busy. You never set them up and it's just sitting there, you know. And then what about social media? You know, we're not even using social media. I was just in that training that I was telling you about. I did not want to learn about TikTok, but I learned about TikTok, and I'm like, I'm about to be a TikTok queen up in here. I'm about to learn about it. I'm about to get my son over here to show me, okay, how do I work this TikTok thing? Because people are making thousands of dollars off TikTok. So you know, in business, it causes you to be uncomfortable to do things that you never have done before. And I have been given a challenge that you're going to see on my social media feed coming up this week. And I'm not able to share it right now, but it's a part of my training, you know, to get out of your comfort zone, to have people look at you and to say, you know what, what's wrong with her? You know, and you still be okay with who you are and be comfortable. So that's the thing, you know, going forward is building those relationships, utilizing the tools that you have available, and becoming uncomfortable, you know, building up your confidence to step out there. I don't like going live. I really don't. I don't think that I'm good at it at all. But I do it because of the fact that the people who need to hear what I have to say will have an ear to hear. There are people that's assigned to each and every last one of us. And if if our mouths are shut, then we're hindering their destiny and purpose because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. You know, although, you know, the Lord will make a way for them to get it in other places, but you missed your assignment. I don't want to be one of those people who miss my assignment. I want to be doing the things that I have been called to do, and that is empowering the people so that they can increase in the things that God has called them to do.
I love it. I love it. So something else I want to tease out of you a little bit more. This is what I do.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
I listen and I do deeper dives. You know, I always tell people the only place where you find success for training is in the dictionary, right? And something that I'm hearing consistently through this talk as well is you are pulling from a lot of different wells, right? You're attending trainings, you're attending seminars. I know you're reading books. I'm sure you have masterminds or mentorship groups, things like that. Speak to that. You know, what are these different wells that you are pulling from to stay enthused, stay engaged, stay passionate, stay focused, stay positive, right? Because, you know, I tell people all the time, entrepreneurship is not that stuff you see on Instagram and Facebook. It's really not, okay?
Right.
It's not steak and egg, foodie pics, and Welch's grape in the middle of the night. You're not partying all day, every day. I know that's why a lot of people get attracted to it. No, there's a grind. And there's some things you have to do to stay energized. If you don't mind, share, like, where are some of the wells that you're pulling from?
Again, it is definitely the training. I'm constantly attending training so that I can stay motivated. I tap into my mentors, you know, like, you know, the people who are introduced, like yourself, you know, like you're very encouraging and very motivated. I love your style, you know, so I stay plugged into you. I constantly make sure that I'm connected to you, hearing what you have to say, because sometimes you have messages that I haven't even heard. And so, and I'm okay with that, because I'm okay with, like you said, taking that deeper dive and being stretched. So I tap into people who want to go places, who are already successful. John Maxwell, Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins. And I have to, it's a whole bunch of new people that I just came across in this training that just blew my mind. Have you ever heard of Pat Quinn?
I think I've seen something online about that. Yeah, I'm about to write it down.
He is amazing. He shows you how to tell stories, how to share your story in a way that's very well received. And his techniques and how he explained it was so amazing. How you go from this and how you go from that. And I mean, you pick up different things that can help your business. And although I had 30 hours of straight training, there's some things, you know, 1, 2, 3, like 4 things that I take out of it and really start to execute, you know, and then I start to dissect those things and really start to learn it, you know, because it's one thing to just attend all these trainings, listen to these books, but if you have no implementation, then it's just going to just be there. And, you know, it's just, you know, just going to be there. And then whenever you need it, it'll come out, you know, but it may be a little dusty. So my thing is making sure that you, like, I have Audible, is almost like on auto dial. I don't watch TV. My husband can attest to that. I just don't. I don't like watching. They have the shows on Netflix where it's like series. I don't have time for what? I'm like, I don't know how to do that, because if I'm going to watch it, I have to watch all of the seasons. Like, I'll sit there all day and watch it. I don't know how to just watch a little bit, you know? So I say, you know what? I just won't watch TV, because I feel like it's pulling away from what I'm supposed to be doing, you know? So yeah, that's it. You know, keep yourself around things that's going to motivate you and keep your drive up.
I love the spirit of positive expectations.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You've already won. You're just doing the work. You're in the process, waiting for the universe to catch up with you.
Hello. Yes, I received that word. That is so true. That's very true. You know, I love that saying with Maxwell. You know, your daily activities is your success. I did not have a mindset like that before. You know, I was like, man, I'm such a failure. You know, because you'll have thoughts like that when you're not feeling very productive. You know, you'll be like, oh, I didn't do good, you know, and then you'll get in this funk. But if you don't get yourself and pull yourself out of it, you can fall into depression. You can just, you know, fall into this space where you just let things go. And I've done that before too. I've had success and failures in business. In 22 years, you're going to experience some failure, you know, but it's all in how you come back. This last bout took about almost 5 years for me to come out of it. You know, I was still doing work, but it wasn't productive work, you know? And so it was just doing what I had to do to survive. You know, you know, your passion gets gone, you know, you don't have the passion, the drive, the way that you used to. It's horrible. So keeping yourself around the word, you know, like I had to build myself up in the word of God and start really having an expectation for every day. And then I have to, you know, listen to motivating messages, you know, because, you know, thoughts will come in and try to invade your mind to keep you down this negative path when you know you're supposed to be going down this path, you know. So always having a word to come against that, because it is always going to come to try to distract you. So keeping that positive word in your mouth and keeping those actions up on the same path, then you're reaching the goal that you're supposed to go, that you're supposed to reach.
I love it. I love it, man. I hope people are taking notes, because I mean, this was invaluable. Like I am going to replay this for entrepreneurs that I work with for consistencies, the spirit that you speak with, and just the little habits that give such huge results, man. I'm loving every moment of it.
Thank you.
You said something earlier that caught my attention as well. You've talked about measuring things, right? And accounting for things. So it's something that I know a lot of entrepreneurs they look over it, and it's easy to do so. And that's the ideal of the process and KPIs, right? Key performance indicators, as I call them. And I know you have to be implementing key performance indicators. I'm listening to you repeatedly talk about process and measuring things, right? What are the key performance indicators that you take a look at from a business standpoint? Or what are the key performance indicators you also look at personally, right? To see whether or not you're on the right path and that you're moving in a direction that you feel fulfillment, growth, and you're enjoying what you're doing. What are the key things that you look for? How do you measure yourself?
Oh man, I am a numbers girl.
Uh-huh.
I am a numbers girl. And
Uh-huh.
one of the things that I do is I look at my numbers.
Mhm.
I have a daily number that I have that I'm meeting new prospects, that I'm doing follow up,
Mhm.
and sales.
Yeah.
And for the week. So the activity that I'm doing during the day should produce this amount during the week. And if it doesn't, then I'm doing, what am I not doing right? I look at how I'm presenting the information to see what's working well with people and what's not working well, and because maybe I'm not getting the right results. It's all about tweaking, so I tweak based on what my numbers look like, So I have a system, or a system that helps me keep track of all of that to let me know where I am. And I stay focused on that, communication is everything, especially, when you have a partner. So I let my partner know, okay, we like this. How
Mhm.
can we become like this?
Right.
So we, have to get on the same page when things begin to go a little bit beneath the expectation, and rework it and redo it so that we can stay on the path. And personally, I'm old school, and I carry my little book with
I
me.
love it.
And so you see me taking notes. I'm a note taker. So I take notes too, and I keep it and I check it off my list. I have a to-do list every day of the things that I want to accomplish every day. And as I do it, I check it off my list. And when things come up in that time frame, I have blinders on. And I'm
Mhm.
like, you cannot touch me during this time,
Mhm.
not unless it's going to help me to reach my goal.
Yep.
Say, for instance, this opportunity right here.
Mhm.
This is from 10 to 12, I'm hitting it. I'm on the phones.
Yep.
I'm following up. So I have a system to my day every day. I'm up at 5:45 every day, you
Mm.
know, and I'm in prayer, and then I'm doing my emails, and then I'm, getting my day together. And then by time 10 o'clock, I'm on the phone, I'm on the phone. So that's how I monitor how I'm doing. And then at the end of the day, I take a look and see where I am and see what I need to do for the next day.
I love it. I love it. So we are winding down here, and there's a couple questions we ask entrepreneurs on a consistent basis. And one of the questions I would ask you to answer is, what's your superpower? You know, what's that thing that makes you unique and different? What's your value prop? Um, and another question we ask, you can go either or. I'm curious to know what your response is going to be, both questions. What's your spirit animal?
That's so hilarious. Well, I can tell you, for my 40th birthday, what I did is I went and got a tattoo.
Mm.
And I wish I wouldn't have now, but that animal is a lion. I have
Okay.
a lion that's on my back, and that power underneath it, or that word underneath it, is unique.
Mm.
So I am very unique, because I'm able to handle a multiple of different things with consistency, and with ease, and not feel it, So I think those are my two characteristics, if you will.
I
So,
love it.
and being unique.
I love it. I love it. Um, if you could pull out maybe 2 or 3 life and business lessons from your journey, right? From at the age of, what did you say? You started early, 14? You got the bug? Yeah, 14, right? You could start from then until now and pull out maybe 2 or 3 gems that you want to leave entrepreneurs with who may be struggling, or quite frankly, let's be real, opportunity doesn't disappear, it just changes hands. There are a lot of people who are doing very well right now. So I always want to remind people that too. Like, don't get it twisted. There are people who are succeeding, that are achieving, that are hitting their goals, living lives of satisfaction. What would those 2 or 3 gems be?
The first thing that I would say is never give up. Never give up on your dream. If you don't have a dream, start dreaming. Um, in life, you're going to have success and failure. Don't beat yourself up. Just keep moving towards what you have been called to do, especially if you have that burning desire on the inside of you and it won't go away. That means you need to go and do it. Take steps in moving forward in that direction. The next thing is, it not only takes the passion for business, you got to have a plan. I have so many people come into my office that want to be in business, and they have the plan, and they have the passion, and they have the work ethic, and they're like, oh, I'm about to go into this business. But then when I sit down with them and ask them questions about their plan, their vision, their succession plan, there's not one. Mm-hmm. And I know that the only way that you can survive in business is you have to build a solid foundation in business. I remember when I first got started, because I do have a degree in business administration and in management, and I've opened up my first company, and I had people come in and I hired individuals. I had an employee manual, a training manual, operations manual, and they were like, what Black-owned company has that? I was like, me. Yeah. So it was very well structured, organized, and in that 2008 era, I went in. That was one of the curveballs and pivots that I did, is that I would go into businesses and help them to streamline systems and services that they didn't need to help them to continue to stay above water. Yep. So those are the things that I would say. Dream. Don't just have passion, but have a plan for your business.
I love it.
What would be, if people want to reach out to you, Selina, and chat with you more, talk with you more, learn about you? I know you mentioned you're going to be busy on social media here soon, but what is the best way for people to get in contact with you?
Yes, they can reach me directly at 313-516-2004. They can visit my website at selinarwells.biz. That's B-I-Z, B as in boy, I-Z as in zebra. And of course, they can reach me on all social media platforms, Selina R. Wells, Selina Business Broker, that's Instagram. I even have a Snapchat. You're
gonna have TikTok soon. Yeah, and
I have a TikTok. I am Selina R. Wells, so I'm just building that. But if you put Selina R. Wells, if you Google me, I will come up, and you can check me out on all platforms. I would love to talk with you and to help you. That's the whole purpose and reason that I'm here, is to help individuals and business owners to reach their goals.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Selina. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Please rewatch this one again. Please share this with anyone if this was impactful for you. You're going to know someone who's going to value it as well. And reach out to Selina